Group Newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Blue Ridge Schools Administration is inviting the community out for an annual event that allows them to get a taste of what's happening in their schools and give their thoughts. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Ryan Payton, superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, told the Heart Media Group they are hosting their annual Blue Ridge Connect event ahead of their April 15th Board of Education meeting.
So, we try to do at least a few different opportunities throughout the year to get stakeholder engagement and to kind of share information about, kind of what's going on in the district and give opportunities for community members to ask questions and just really to hear updates about district initiatives. And so we are doing that next month. It's going to be April 15th. It'll actually be in Bellflower. So every year we try to kind of make sure that we incorporate each of our three towns into different events. And so the spring event will be at Bellflower. It'll take place on April 15th, like I said, at 5:15. So we invite everyone to come out and be a part of that. It's going to be a really cool event. We start off with our STEM club here at the high school. Actually, we'll kick it off with some engaging activities to kind of get some hands-on learning activities for just all the stakeholders involved that day.
According to Payton, the community will be able to hear about some new things happening next year. The district is planning for some more early dismissal days, but they are also aware of the scheduling bind that can create for families. So they are trying to do something about that.
We'll dive into some topics related to next school year. We are looking to do teacher collab early out days. We'll do about 6 of those next year that are new. So we'll get that around 1:30ish, and that'll give teachers time to really dive into data and be intentional about looking at data in regards to student learning artifacts or assessment data, and really have an opportunity to problem solve and to just really grow in our instructional practices to improve student outcomes. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that and that process. And then also we will dive into how we're going to help support some families during that time as well. And we know that sometimes, with having some of those early out type events, people are having to get off work a little bit early, or we've actually been able to create a partnership with the Clinton YMCA. So we're going to offer some after school programming on those early out days to support families that are in need of some childcare.
Payton reminds that the event comes up on April 15th, an hour before the scheduled Board of Education meeting in Bellflower. Payton encourages downloading the Blue Ridge Schools app or following them on Facebook for more. If you've procrastinated filing your taxes, a Clinton financial coach is highlighting some of the changes to the tax code that may be beneficial. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Connie Miller with the DeWitt Savings Bank in Clinton told the Heart Media Group the big beautiful bill passed by the Trump administration provides several changes to tax filing that will be beneficial.
Yes, well, we had the one big beautiful bill and there were some tax changes, most of them sort of positive. I mean, my marginal tax bracket actually went down and our taxes were less this year. And one of the biggest pieces was our standard deduction. It's $31,500 for a married couple right now, and then for single filers it's $15,750. But another thing that really helped this year for our family was the SALT deduction. That stands for state and local taxes deduction.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a cap of $10,000. That would be your state income taxes, your property taxes, and then interest on your home if you have a mortgage, capped out around $10,000. Now it's $40,000 for married filing jointly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge increase. So
Yeah.
there's more people itemizing than there used to be because of that. But also some other fun things for people who maybe are workers who receive tips.
Mm-hmm.
There's no tax on tips up to $25,000 for those who actually report them.
Miller recommends that if you are a worker who relies on tips, to claim those dollars on your taxes. She explains those dollars can be very important when you go to apply for a home, apartment, or vehicle, as you want to prove you can afford those essentials.
And this is a great this I want to caveat this, that when people go to get a loan, and let's say they're a server and their W-2 shows they make $12,000,
Mm-hmm.
but they're really making 40,
Mm-hmm.
that's a problem
Mm-hmm.
because they're not reporting on their taxes, so we don't have anything to verify what their income really is. So this gives you an opportunity to report all your taxes
Mm-hmm.
and not have to pay tax on or all your tips and not
Mm-hmm.
have to pay taxes on them.
Sure.
And then it shows up for when you're looking to buy a house or get a car loan, because it shows up as income, and you
Okay.
need to have the income for them
Mm-hmm.
to loan you the money.
Sure.
So it's sort of a good thing. Of a no tax on overtime up to 12,500. I know there's a lot of people, especially in medical and law enforcement, who do a lot of overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So this is good news for them.
Among other changes to the tax code this year includes an enhanced senior deduction and auto loan interest deduction.
And then we have an enhanced senior deduction. It's 6,000 additional deduction for if you're over 65.
Mm-hmm.
As of January, was it 2nd of 61? If you're born after January 2nd of 61
Mm-hmm.
or before then, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we also had something new this year, is an auto loan interest deduction. If you bought your car, I believe it's in 2025, or it was after December 31st of 2024, and there's certain types that you can buy, you can deduct your interest on your car.
If you worry about losing track of all these changes, Miller says almost any software you use to file your taxes will have prompts for these things. If you've already filed your taxes but are unsure if you made note of these changes in your filings, you can amend those.
It's all in there. They have all the updated information is in
Mhm.
there, and the system's going to ask them to put like their state. It automatically shows their state taxes, their property taxes, all that. You enter it,
Mhm.
and it will compute for you which is the better to take, the
Okay.
standard or the itemized deduction. And that's
Mhm.
something. Whereas for a while, people stopped keeping receipts for their charity, because they
Mhm.
knew they're just going to do the standard deduction. It might be time to start holding on to those receipts again.
Mm. Miller cautions against utilizing information you find on social media, as much of what she has seen is not only misleading, but it is criminally inaccurate. As we age, it becomes more and more important to keep our minds and memories sharp. Terry Casey, director of the University of Illinois Extension in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, explains that everyone has memory slips, but there are some simple strategies that can be used to help avoid them.
So we're going to talk about everyday memory slips, why they happen, and how to support them. Why do we sometimes forget? Forget to take our medicine. Oh, we forgot that call. We were supposed to bring something and we didn't. That happens. That's a normal part of life, being busy, but it's also a normal part of aging. And so it's good to know the difference between when is that signaling something we need to be concerned with, and when is it just part of nature. And so Liza Baby is going to be talking about speech and hearing science, because we often forget that those things are tied in together, right? Some of the first signs that we may begin to see with folks who are having some memory issues is some speech differences. Maybe they're finding a link now between hearing issues and the onset of dementia. So this is a scientist who has a lot of interesting information related to that, but also just memory in general. So looking at the brain science behind it, EEG research, how it goes to remembering to remember, and then also some simple home evidence-based strategies to support and protect your memory.
While bringing awareness to signs of dementia is extremely important for those reaching their golden years, Casey says keeping your memory strong from an early age can benefit you later in life.
Well, I agree. It's good to know the symptoms so that we can be early intervention with folks. It's also good to alleviate stress when we just have a normal memory slip. But I think it's also good for everybody, because it is important to work on our memory. We know that people with strong memories tend to be a little better protected against some of the onsets of dementia. So yeah, I think this is for everyone. And we live in a very, very busy world with many, many distractions. I think we can all attest to that now. And so I do think that in general, people are struggling with their memories more, even if they don't have a clinical issue. So yeah, I do think this is for everyone. And if nothing else, you'll come away with a little bit more knowledge and just be that much, if you remember everything, you'll be that much more helpful to the people around you.
Right. This webinar takes place on April 8th from noon to 1 p.m. Learn more and register at extension.illinois.edu/LMS. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In a game heard on WHOW and all its digital platforms, the Clinton Maroons defeated the Gibson City-Melvin-Sibley Falcons by a final score of 14-4 in 5 innings of high school non-conference baseball action on Wednesday night in Clinton. Starting Falcons pitcher Zeb Greer opened the game with 14 consecutive balls and walked the first 5 batters before being pulled in the first. The Maroons took advantage of the pitching and made the score 8-1 after the first. The Maroons added 3 more runs in the second and third innings to build the lead to 14-1. In the top of the 5th, Jack Andrews hit a double and was brought home by a Jace Elder single. Connor Kinzinger hit a sac fly in the inning to score Jason Christensen to make it 14-4. Jackson Reynolds, Brock Wilson, Mitchell Cornwell, and Cole Fentress each went 1 for 2 at the plate with 2 runs scored. Cornwell added 3 RBIs, while Wilson had 2. On the mound, Jaden Bell made his first start and gave up 4 runs and 4 hits while striking out 3 in 3 innings to earn the win. Ryan Pine twirled 2 innings of relief and struck out 3. Lane Elder had a 1-for-1 performance at the plate with a run scored, while Jack Andrews went 1 for 3 with a run scored. Following Greer, Jace Elder came in during the first inning and pitched 2 innings while allowing 4 runs on 4 hits and striking out 1. Lane Elder tossed another 2 innings and allowed 4 runs on 3 hits and struck out 2. With the win, the Maroons improved to 5-3, while GCMS falls to 3-2. Clinton is back in action today when they play host to the Shelbyville Rams. First pitch is at 4:30 p.m. Sandy Alcantara threw his first complete game of the MLB season in a 93-pitch shutout to lead the Miami Marlins over the Chicago White Sox 10-0 on Wednesday.
The White Sox wrapped up their road trip 1-5 and were baffled in the series finale by Sandy Alcantara, who fired his second career Maddox. The old complete game shutout in under 100 pitches. The best thing going for the White Sox may be an unanticipated day off for the team on Thursday afternoon, or a mental reset, if nothing else, now that the home opener has been postponed until Friday afternoon at 1:10. Sox fans, if you're heading to the home opener on Friday, parking lots open at 10 a.m., 3 hours prior to first pitch. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage for the home opener at 12:30 right here on the ESP 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
Right-handed pitcher Sean Burke will start Chicago's home opener against Toronto on Thursday. Right-handed pitcher Dylan Cease will start for the Blue Jays. Mason Wynn singled home the winning run with 2 outs in the 11th inning to give the St. Louis Cardinals a 2-1 victory over the slumping New York Mets on Wednesday. Nolan Gorman hit a tying single in the 6th, and reliever Gordon Graceffo pitched out of a bases-loaded 1-out jam in the top of the 11th. St. Louis took 2 of 3 games from the Mets, who went 1 for 29 with runners in scoring position during the series, including going 0 for 11 in the finale. New York, who is 3-3, is batting 162 in those situations this year. Juan Soto homered for the Mets in the 6th, right after Francisco Lindor got picked off first base by starter Matthew Liberatore. With 2 outs and automatic runner J.J. Weatherholt on third, Wynn lofted a blooper to shallow right field that fell just in front of diving rookie Carson Bench. It was the first hit of the series for Wynn and his first career walk-off RBI. He is 4 for 25 this season. Tobias Myers worked 1 2/3 inning in a hard luck loss. Freddie Peralta was charged with 1 run and 3 hits over 5 1/3 innings in his second start for the Mets. He struck out 7 and walked 2. The right-hander gave up a leadoff single in the 6th to Weatherholt, who scored on Gorman's 2-out single off Huascar Brazoban. Liberatore allowed 1 run and 3 hits in 6 innings. The start was delayed an hour because of rain. St. Louis improved to 2-0 in extra innings, while New York dropped to 1-2. Soto has hit safely in all 6 games this season. He's reached base safely in all 41 career games against St. Louis. The Mets left-handed pitcher David Peterson faces left-handed pitcher Robbie Ray in San Francisco on Thursday night, while for the Cardinals, following a day off, right-handed pitcher Michael McGreevy starts Friday in Detroit against left-handed pitcher Framber Valdez. Matthew Boyd struck out 10 while pitching into the 6th inning, and the Chicago Cubs beat the Los Angeles Angels 6-2 on Wednesday. Nico Horner had 3 hits for Chicago on a chilly and windy afternoon at Wrigley Field. Matt Shaw had 2 hits and 2 RBIs, and Alex Bregman reached 3 times in the rubber game of a 3-game series. Boyd allowed 2 runs, 1 earned on 2 hits over 5 2/3 innings in his second start of the season. The left-hander was tagged for 6 runs in 3 2/3 innings in a 10-4 loss to Washington on opening day. Zach Neto had 2 of the Angels' 4 hits. Yusei Kikuchi was charged with 5 runs and 6 hits in 5 1/3 innings. Chicago grabbed control with 5 runs in the 3rd inning. Miguel Amaya walked and scored from first on Horner's double into the gap in left center. Bregman singled in Horner, and Dansby Swanson drove in Ian Happ with a sacrifice fly. Shaw and Pete Crow Armstrong contributed 2-out RBI singles. First-year Los Angeles manager Kurt Suzuki wanted a replay review of the play at the plate when Amaya scored, but was denied by the umpires because he took too long to decide on the challenge. The Angels chased Boyd while scoring 2 runs in the 6th. Joe Adell singled in Neto, and Mike Trout scampered home on an error on Bregman at 3rd. The Cubs tacked on an unearned run in the 7th. Trout dropped Carson Kelly's leadoff fly ball to center for an error, and Kelly scored on Shaw's 1-out single. The Angels have an off day on Thursday, but left-handed pitcher Reed Detmers starts for the Angels in their home opener on Friday night. Right-handed pitcher Brian Wu takes the mound for Seattle. The Cubs' right-handed pitcher Cade Horton starts the opener of a weekend series at Cleveland on Friday. Left-handed pitcher Joey Cantillo gets the ball for the Guardians. Pascal Siakam scored 25 points, and the Indiana Pacers beat the Chicago Bulls 145-126 on Wednesday night to move out of the NBA basement. Coming off a home victory over Miami on Sunday, the injury-ravaged Pacers had their highest-scoring game of the season. They improved to 18-58 to move a game ahead of last-place Washington. Ethan Thompson added 24 points, and Kobe Brown and Jay Huff each had 17. Gershon Yabusele led Chicago with 20 points, and Colin Sexton had 18. The Bulls have lost 5 straight, the first 4 on the road, to fall to 29-47. The Pacers are at Charlotte on Friday night, while the Bulls are at New York on Friday night. Trevor Moore scored 1 minute and 56 seconds into overtime to lift the Los Angeles Kings to a 2-1 victory over the St. Louis Blues on Wednesday night. Adrian Kempe also scored for the Kings, who moved into the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference, 1 point ahead of San Jose and Nashville. Anton Forsberg made 23 saves, including 1 in overtime for Los Angeles, which stopped a 4-game losing streak at home. Robert Thomas scored the only goal for the Blues on a deflection with 3 minutes and 53 seconds left in the 3rd period to send it to overtime. Jordan Bennington stopped 24 shots in the loss, including 2 in the extra period. St. Louis is now 4 points behind Los Angeles for the second wildcard spot. Moore sped up the right side, outskated Jonathan Berggren, centered the puck, and snapped a shot past Bennington for the victory. Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty assisted on the goal. With the Kings leading 1-0, Thomas went into the front of the net, and Philip Broberg's shot deflected off Thomas's skate and past Forsberg to tie it. After a scoreless first period, Jared Wright nearly put the Kings ahead midway through the second, but his goal was waved off for goaltender interference. Los Angeles got one that counted on Kempe's power play goal on a wrister with 3 minutes and 1 second left in the second period to put the Kings up 1-0. The Blues play at Anaheim on Friday night, while the Kings host Nashville on Thursday night. In scores from around the MLB, the Atlanta Braves beat the Athletics 5-1, while the Baltimore Orioles took down the Texas Rangers 8-3. The Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Cincinnati Reds 8-3, while the Philadelphia Phillies took down the Washington Nationals 6-5 in the 10th inning. The Colorado Rockies beat the Toronto Blue Jays 2-1 in the 10th inning, while the Milwaukee Brewers took down the Tampa Bay Rays 8-2. The Houston Astros beat the Boston Red Sox 6-4, and the Arizona Diamondbacks shut out the Detroit Tigers 1-0. The New York Yankees beat the Seattle Mariners 5-3, and the San Diego Padres took down the San Francisco Giants 7-1. The Kansas City Royals scored 13-9 over the Minnesota Twins, and the Cleveland Guardians beat the LA Dodgers 4-1. In scores from the NBA last night, the Atlanta Hawks beat the Orlando Magic 130-101, while the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Washington Wizards 153-131. The Boston Celtics beat the Miami Heat 147-129, while the Houston Rockets took down the Milwaukee Bucks 119-113. The New York Knicks beat the Memphis Grizzlies 130-119, and the Sacramento Kings took down the Toronto Raptors 123-115. The Denver Nuggets beat the Utah Jazz 130-117, while the San Antonio Spurs took down the Golden State Warriors 127-113. In scores from around the NHL last night, the Vancouver Canucks beat the Colorado Avalanche 8-6, and the San Jose Sharks beat the Anaheim Ducks 4-3. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hey, it's Shane from Highway 51 Exchange, your mower and equipment service pros just south of Clinton. Click our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com or give us a call to schedule your free pickup and delivery today. Highway 51 Exchange.
Longview Community Bank is now open in Clinton, investing in rural Illinois. I'm Vice President Nate Sams. Stop by for a visit or to find out how we provide real local banking. Click our banner ad at the top of the local news page on DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump, addressing the nation from the White House last night, says all of America's core strategic objectives in the Iran war are nearly achieved. Chief among those objectives is to make sure that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. The president's calling on other nations to retake the strategic Strait of Hormuz from Iran and to keep it open. As the president warns Iran to make a deal with the U.S. and as ceasefire talks continue, the Islamic Republic continues firing off missiles. The long-running partial government shutdown could soon be over. There's a new Republican-authored plan for funding the Department of Homeland Security. The Senate may take up that proposal as early as today. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, losses deepening on Wall Street. Dow futures down 679 points.